بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها. كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون. ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم. يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه فأما الذين اسودت وجوههم أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون. وأما الذين ابيضت وجوههم ففي رحمة الله هم فيها خالدون. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين.
Obviously, we're not shuyukh or scholars or anything, so inshallah this can just be a reminder to all of us, especially ourselves, first and foremost, because Allah does say, and reminders are beneficial for the believers. So inshallah we all come out of here at least reminded of one thing, at least. Okay, as Brother Hassan mentioned, our Halaqa today is about unity, and we hear people talk about unity a lot, especially old men arguing about different political things. Oh, we need unity in Palestine, we need unity in different places, but what people talk about isn't what unity really is. So our first question is, what is unity? Everyone has their own opinion. Muslim countries should come together, like political parties should come together, pray Eid together at one masjid, go to the same masjid, follow the same madhab, go pray behind the same sheikh. But in reality, in Islam, unity is loving my brothers and loving my sisters regardless of any of that. Regardless of what country they're from, regardless of where they pray Salat al-Eid, regardless of what madhab they follow, regardless of any of that, none of that, it matters in Islam. All these things are just trivial. And then we love our brothers and we love our sisters because of one thing. And that one thing is in their hearts they believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. So for this, we love our brothers and sisters for the sake of Allah. We love them because they love Allah as much as we love Allah. They love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they love this deen. And if we truly love this deen, we should love each other, regardless of anything else, like I said. And the bond of this religion, it does bring us together. It makes us brothers and sisters for life, not only in this life but in the next life, inshallah. In Surah 43, ayah 67, Allah says, close friends that day will be the enemies to each other, except for the righteous. So Allah says, on the day of judgment, every single one of us, no matter what, whether we're with our family, we're with our mothers, our fathers, our brothers and sisters, our blood brothers and sisters, every single person is going to be an enemy on that day. We all want more hasanat than the person after us, so that we can get into Jannah before they do. Because we are going to be terrified. On that day, we're resurrected on a huge plain. There's nothing there. It's just a bunch of people. Every person who's ever existed, from Adam alayhi salam to the last person who dies, every single person is going to be there, and everyone is thinking the same thing. I want to get into Jannah no matter what. I don't care about this person. I don't care about that person. I don't care if they need something from me. I need it more. But Allah says, except the righteous friends. So we have my friendship with Shady. If I'm a righteous believer and Shady's a righteous believer, we love each other for the sake of Allah, and we use our friendship to bring each other closer to Allah. And InshaAllah, on the Day of Judgment, then we're going to be the part of the people who are not scared, and we won't be enemies. We'll be friends in the Day of Judgment as well. I mean, just imagine you're going to be standing in front of Al-Mudhil, the humiliator of sins, Al-Basir, the all-seeing, Al-Alim, the all-knowing, and you're going to be terrified, and then what do you have? You're so scared, you're all alone, you think everyone else is all alone, everyone's going crazy that they're scared, and then I have Shady right next to me and we're friends. InshaAllah. So sometimes we squabble over silly things like where we should pray, or whether our feet should touch or our shoulders should touch. Trivial things like that, they don't matter, because after all, when we get caught up in our differences, we forget the one huge thing that we all have in common, that we're all Muslim, that La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is the way we live, and what we live for. We're all Muslim, we're all one Ummah, so these things, they don't matter. These other things really, really don't matter. And I know it's easier said than done, but seriously, we face generations of these issues. We've had Pakistanis and Indians who won't even eat at the same table because of their political issue. But in reality, if we're all Muslim, what's the problem? So we have to get rid of all those generational issues, all those old issues that old people want to talk about and they want to argue about. These shouldn't be things that the new generation should talk about. We should focus on moving forward and really unifying our own. I mean, we have countries falling apart. We have Egypt, Sudan, they're all falling apart, and we're arguing about, I should pray at Sly Parade, or should I pray at the fairgrounds? I really don't know. The struggle is real. We have genocide. Syria, like, people are getting raped, killed, women are being, like, the worst possible things that can happen to a human being are happening to people in Syria. We're arguing about really dumb things. So, and what can we do about it? Like, we all want to know, what can we do about it? If there's all these problems going on, and we don't know what to do about it, we're 1,000 miles away, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Ra'd, ayah 11, indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. And this is a really powerful ayah, because Allah straight up says, we won't help, He's not going to help a group of people if they're not willing to change themselves. So we think about, when is the genocide in Syria going to end? When are these problems in Egypt and Syria going to end in Palestine? Palestine for how many years? Like over 70 years now? But we don't want to change what's inside of ourselves. So we can't expect Allah to change something if we don't want to change. The suffering won't end, the genocide won't end, our community won't get any better, and our Ummah won't get any better until we change what's inside of ourselves. I can't expect the community to get any better or stronger if I refuse to pray behind a certain imam. It's really not going to work. I can't expect the Ummah to get any stronger if we're turning our backs on converts. And we're turning our backs on converts a lot, it seems like. Today, inshallah, we're having 2 sisters making the shahada. Go after they give the shahada, give them a hug, give them a kiss. The girls. Give them a hug, give them a kiss. Tell them that you'll be there for them no matter what happens, because we are one Ummah. We're one community. Don't ever turn our backs. We never turn our backs on the converts, especially our converts. Because in reality, they're the ones who are bringing more people into Islam. When we see that we're in America and we see a non-Muslim sees a convert who was an American, used to be a Christian, used to be a Jew, used to be anything. They want to know why did you become Muslim? Like, what made you an American? You were born here, you were raised here. What made you want to become Muslim? They're not going to say, oh, yeah, you know, Islam is the correct way. Especially, they're not going to say any of that, especially if we turn our backs on them. So that's the first and foremost thing. Our converts are some of the most important people in our Ummah. And nothing is going to happen, Allah says, nothing is going to happen until we change what's inside of ourselves. We may never be able to change the condition of the people in Egypt, the people in Syria, any of our people in Palestine, anywhere, if we don't change what's inside of ourselves. So InshaAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us it just puts it inside of us to change ourselves first and foremost for His sake and for the sake of our whole Ummah, inshaAllah. And we all have our faults, but inshallah, if we purify ourselves and our intentions, Allah will make it much easier on us. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change the condition of our people. I ask Allah to purify our souls and our intentions. So what exactly do we need to change when it comes to changing what's inside of ourselves? One of the very famous hadith shows it's a very, very, I feel like it's a cardinal rule of Islam, how to deal with people, your brothers and sisters in the Ummah. The hadith is, none of you will believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. And this is like, they say people say, oh, do for others what you want people to do for yourself. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this, how many hundred years ago? So it's a very, very easy thing to know. It's a very easy thing to understand. If they can teach it in a kindergarten, I'm sure I can teach it in Halaqa. Do for other people what you want other people to do for yourself. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. And this is most evident in the story of the Ansar and the Muhajirin. So basically after the Muhajirin, they moved, made hijrah, right?
The immigrants.
Yeah, they emigrated, and the Prophet ﷺ, he basically paired a muhajir, or an immigrant, with an ansar, a person who lived in the area. And the ansar had so much love for the muhajirin. They never met these people in their lives. They never even knew, they probably never even know they existed. They had no idea who they were, but the Prophet ﷺ, he paired them together, and he said, and the ansar, they were so loving to the muhajirin who they didn't even know. Like, you never see something like this anywhere else in history. They gave the muhajirin the possessions, they gave them their money, they gave them everything. Like, there was an example, there was a muhajir who was single, he didn't have a wife. And there was an Ansari who had 2 wives. And the Ansari said to the muhajir, straight up, if you don't find a wife, you can have one of mine. Not like giving her away, but like divorce her so that you can marry her if she allows you to. Imagine that, like giving away, you're allowing you to marry your wife. I didn't even share my Coke with Shady earlier. Seriously. They really, really understood what it meant to love for your brother what you love for yourself, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that understanding. There's another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, among Allah's servants are people who are neither prophets nor martyrs, but whom the prophets and martyrs will deem fortunate because of their high status with Allah. The Sahabis asked, O Messenger of Allah, inform us of who they are. The Prophet ﷺ said, they are people who loved each other for Allah's sake without being related to one another or being tied to one another by exchange of wealth. By Allah, their faces will be luminous and they will be upon light. They will be upon light. They will feel no fear when the people will be feeling fear, and they will feel no grief when people will be grieving. Then he read the verse 1062, behold, on the friends of Allah there shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. So on the Day of Judgment, there's going to be people who have high status, like the prophets or martyrs, and prophets and martyrs are going to look favorably upon them. And they're going to be the people who loved each other for no reason but the sake of Allah. They didn't love each other because of their wealth. They didn't love each other because they were family. They loved each other because La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and I love Shady because of that. And what could be better than that? It's the easiest thing in the world. You get friends, okay, you feel loved, you get to love people, and it benefits us in the next life. And it's like the easiest thing you can do, just love someone. And I love Shady. Unity, and it's not that big of a deal. Unity can be as much as a smile. Like, we smile to each other, you say salam to your brother or sister, and you smile. And then you guys are a good community, right? Boom. Give each other what you would love. So if Shady really, really loves Coke, and I have a can of Coke, I'm going to give it to him next time, inshallah. I seriously, it's one of the easiest things, and personally, this is one of the things I love to do, just giving other people what I would love, because it makes you, honestly, it really makes you feel much better about yourself. It makes you feel much better about yourself, it makes the other person feel better, and it brings you closer to Allah, and then, inshallah, our faces will be luminous on the day of judgment. Finally, without unity, like if we're on our own, Shaitan is the easiest thing in the world for Shaitan to just come and grab us and take us away from Islam. Like, think about it this way. A lion is one of the most skilled hunters in the world. And when he seeks out his prey, they're not going to go and they're not going to try to attack a huge herd of gazelle. Because it's going to get trampled. It's not going to catch anything, it's going to get hurt, and it's going to suck. So what does the lioness do? She waits there, and she waits there, and she waits there, until one gazelle gets left behind. One straggler, one loner. And then she goes and she attacks, and she always catches that one loner gazelle. So she's way too smart to attack the herd, so she just waits for that one, and she gets him. She gets him every single time, and then she eats him, and that gazelle is messed up after that. So Shaitan is like the gazelle. He's not going to attack our whole community. He's going to wait for someone to get left behind by the community. He's going to wait for the community to let someone be a straggler. He's going to wait for us. He might even wait for someone who just converted to Islam to stop feeling the love in the community. So the community gives them a lot of attention at first, and then they might start to ignore them. And Shaitan will go right after that person, and he always gets that one person. So, like, our community and our ummah in general has been leaving a lot of people behind. A lot of people. And it's like a plague on our ummah. So that's one thing that we really have to work on. Getting people, make sure there are no stragglers. If someone doesn't understand something, you don't just be like, idiot, you don't understand that. You bring them in, you make them come to this Wednesday Halaqa with Brother Hassan. Because that's the best way of people to know everything. And we have to remember that Islam is not an exclusive religion. In no way are we exclusive. The Prophet ﷺ didn't turn anybody away. There's a story of a man who killed 99 people, and he went up to a person and he asked him, will Allah forgive me? And the person said, heck no, Allah's not going to forgive you. So he killed that person. So then he killed 100 people. He murdered 100 people. And he went to another person and he asked, will Allah forgive me for killing these 100 people? And he said, of course, Allah is the most forgiving. So if Allah can forgive someone who murdered 100 people, who are we to turn away someone who maybe did one thing wrong in their life? Maybe did a few things wrong. Who did anything wrong? We can't turn anybody away. And astaghfirullah, we've been turning a lot of people away lately and over the past years. So that's something that we really need to work on in our ummah. That we don't turn anybody away. So after building our community, we build unity amongst our friends. We build unity amongst our community. Then we build unity amongst our entire ummah. It doesn't start with we just attack the ummah and just go right for unity in the whole ummah. It starts here. It starts with me uniting with Shady, me uniting with the kids in my class. Us uniting as a jama'ah, us uniting as a community, us uniting as an ummah. It starts like that, and then it ends with the ummah. So we must never let anybody be left behind. We must never let a lack of unity let Shaitan feed on our believers. Shadi's going to take it away.
The first thing that Zaid said when he started his halaqa was, when he started his talk was, we're not sheikhs, we're just here to give advice, and advice actually unites us. Every time you come to the Wednesday halaqa, all of you are united right now. You guys come here every Wednesday, and you guys unite, so that's pretty cool. One way to summarize unity, if I were to summarize it in any way, if you pick up one stick and you try to break it, that stick's gonna snap, like that stick's gonna break. But if you pick up 20 sticks and you put them in your hand and you try to break them, those sticks aren't gonna break. So, in a way, we shouldn't break. Another example of that, you're at Busch Gardens, you're with your friends, you're at Busch Gardens, you guys are hanging out, and it's time to pray. You guys are together. Don't break, you guys gotta go pray, you gotta go do your thing. So, the rights can wait, inshallah. A personal example of how I experience unity, actually recently this weekend we all went to Orlando for a Muslim Interscholastic tournament. We won, okay. Yeah, so, but the idea is that, when you go places with other people and you guys are together all the time, you actually get closer. Like I said, we all come here every Wednesday for Wednesday Halaqa, we pray Aisha together. We're united when we're praying Aisha. But, like I said about the sticks, if you guys stay singular, if you guys stay by yourselves, you guys are going to break. But if we stay together and we unite, we'll actually be stronger. I know it's cliche, but that's the truth of it. Another example, if an army has a better chance of winning a war if it has 2 men rather than 1. Obviously there's not going to be an army with 2 men, and obviously there's not going to be an army with one person. But the idea is that, you're more likely to succeed if you're united together with 1 person, 2 people, 3 people. I don't think I'd be able to do this halaqa without uniting with my brothers, so that's a good thing. Patience is also an important factor of unity. We have to be patient with each other. Some of us sort of break when we're around each other and we're united, that there's always that one person that just breaks and just walks away and I can't do this anymore. But, alhamdulillah, I'm not that person. It's also a factor, patience is also a factor of marriage, and marriage is also unity. You get married to someone and you guys are united for the rest of your life. I guess that's kind of scary. But it's a good kind of scary because you guys actually become stronger together. You form a family, and then as a family you have to bond together, and bonding together you're stronger. See? When you're united you get things done. Anyways, you get married, you find someone to get married, and you make a family, and you guys are united. You're this group of people that have the same last name, and you guys this group of people that have the same last name, but the idea is that you guys are united, and showing weakness is fighting with each other. If we're always fighting with each other, we're weak. Like I said about the army, if those 2 men stick together, they might win the war, but if it's just one guy, he's going to lose. So, and also, giving to someone, like Zaid said about the 2 sisters who are going to give shahada tonight, InshaAllah. If, after they give shahada, if the sisters go up to them, talk to them for a little bit, let them know that they're welcome, let them feel welcome, Like, don't just let them go home after they make shahada, let them say those words and then they go home and do their thing. Let them know that they're welcome, let them know that they can come here every Wednesday, let them know that they can come here every day, and just, hang out with you guys, or, do your thing. The idea is that when we do things together, we're more stronger than if we do things as singular. But if we're as a unit, we get things done, inshallah. That's all I have to say about that.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This place is dead. Come on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. JazakAllahu Khair. Thanks so much. You guys making dua for me. That's unity right there. Assalamu alaikum, saying peace be upon you. I want you to make dua for me just like I'm making dua for you guys. So one last time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now they mentioned love for the sake of Allah. Now I just want to let you guys in on something real quick. Who can tell me how far the sun is away from the earth right now? How many miles?
93 million.
93 million. You're very close actually. Very close. Anybody else have a guess?
Not in miles, but isn't it 1 AU?
It is 1 AU, but I just want to, because I want to compare it in miles.
96,
A little less than that. It's actually 92,960,000. You're 40,000 miles off. Whoa. So look at that. 92,960,000 miles away from the earth, the sun right now. Now on a hot summer day here in Florida, we walk outside. It's hot outside. Where's the shade? Let me get my hat, sunglasses. Let me get in the shade. You don't want to walk out in the sun. It is that hot. When the sun is how many miles away? 92,960,000 miles away, and we're already saying that the sun is hot. Yawm al-Qiyamah. How many miles away is the sun Yawm al-Qiyamah? How close will Allah put the sun? 1. The most authentic hadith is 1 mile. 1 mile. And right now we're already saying that it's hot because it's 96 million miles away. It's scary. But now we come back to the hadith by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he says, يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى يوم القيامة. Allah will say يوم القيامة أين المتحابون بجلالي. Where are those who loved each other for the sake of Allah, for my sake? Allah is talking. اليوم أظلهم في ظلي يوم لا ظل إلا ظلي. I will put those people that loved me for the sake of Allah, that loved each other for the sake of Allah, I will put them under my shade, the day that there's no shade except for Allah's shade. Just from loving each other for the sake of Allah. So when they're talking about loving each other for the sake of Allah, it does not take this, like, that's just like, yeah, okay. You gotta take it seriously. Love each other for the sake of Allah. That's the best thing you can do. Imagine that Yawm al-Qiyamah when it is so hot outside. When people will be draining in their sweat. Some people up to their ankles, some people up to their knees, some people up to their hips. Some people are drowning in their sweat. Just because how close the sun is. But Allah says that He will put those people that loved each other for the sake of Allah under His shade. May Allah make us from the people that are under His shade. Ameen. So before you guys go home today, I want to give you guys some points. If you guys can keep mental notes, that's very well. If you guys want to pull out your phones, write some notes on your phone, that's very nice too. If you guys can keep some notes written down. Small points that you can actually put into your life that will make this unity come. Number 1, smiling. Prophet Muhammad said, تَبْسِمُكَ فِي وَجْهِ أَخِيكَ صَدَقَةً. That smiling in the face of your brother or sister is sadaqah. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will not reach righteousness until what? You give from what you love. That is the sadaqah, right? Now if Allah is comparing that sadaqah, that birr, that righteousness that we're all trying to reach, if He's comparing that with just smiling in the face of your brother, how easy is that? That when you pass by your brother, instead of wearing a frown on your face, you're smiling at him. It just makes me feel happy. Makes me feel wanted. Makes me feel happy with where I am. If I'm in the masjid and I get a nice smile, I'll love that place. That is the house of Allah. Sadaqah, as if it is charity. So number 1 is what? Smiling. Number 2, don't get angry. Prophet Muhammad said, لا تغضب, don't get angry. Come here, لا تغضب, don't get angry. Prophet Muhammad said, this is, subhanAllah, Prophet Muhammad put it in an easy way for us. How to fix, if we're angry, how to make us not angry. How to make us calm down. If we're angry with one of our peers, with one of our teachers, with one of our kids, anybody, how to stop that anger from coming out, how to stop screaming at each other. Prophet Muhammad said, إِذَا غَضِبَ أَحَدُكُمْ وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ فَلْيَجْلِسْ فَإِنْ ذَهَبَ عَنْهُ الْغَضَبُ وَإِلَّا فَلْيَضْطَجِعْ. Prophet Muhammad said, if one of you to get mad, and he's standing up, what do we do when we get mad? We get up and we start screaming at each other, right? So the Prophet Muhammad said, if you're mad at another person, sit down. Now, if we think about this, what happens when you're angry? Like I said, we get up and we start pointing fingers, we start screaming, right? So Prophet Muhammad said, sit down, calm down. And then he goes on to say, if that fixes it, then that's good. But if that does not fix it, if you're still angry, if you're still mad, what does he say? Lay down. How are you going to be screaming at the next person if you're laying down on the floor? If you're laying down in your bed, are you going to be screaming while you're laying down in your bed? I'm telling you, that's really hard. Easy steps. Prophet Muhammad gives an easy step. Number one, if you're angry, sit down. If that doesn't fix it, lay down. I can promise you, if you stay laying down, the other person will just get so weirded out by it that he'll stop and that you won't be able to argue anyways. Number one is what? Smiling. Number two is what? Don't get angry. Number three, every single one of you guys here, without no exceptions, you're going to go home tonight. I don't care if you know these ayahs or not. You're going to go to Surah Al-Hujurat, Surah 49. And you're going to read ayahs 10 through 13. I'm going to say that one more time. Surah Al-Hujurat, which is Surah number 49. Ayahs number 10 through 13. These ayahs are some of the most impactful ayahs in the Quran. This, if everybody could just abide by these rules that are set forth here, I promise you, half of the problems that we have would completely vanish. First one, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Indeed, the believers are brothers. What do people always say about family? It's a virtue that it's all these cultures, in all cultures. Family, you can't choose your family, right? That your family, that your blood brother, your blood sister, they got your blood running through their veins. That you'll do anything for them to help them get by. Now Allah is telling us, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ, that the believers are brothers, sisters. That we should look out for each other, just as we look out for our own blood brothers and sisters. Moving on to the next ayah, subhanAllah, it just goes back and forth, back and forth. Next ayah says, don't make fun of each other. وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't make fun of each other. How many problems does this stem from? This making fun of each other. Allah goes on to say, وَلَا تَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ. Don't call each other by offensive nicknames. Subhanallah. Again, so many problems start with offensive nicknames. And then he goes on, next ayah, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ إِنَّ بَعْدَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, stay away from suspicion. Indeed, part of suspicion, some of suspicion is ithm, is bad deed in itself. Someone tell me why. Why is suspicion something that we should stay away from? Please. Suspicion. Just think about it.
Suspicion will be manifested.
Nice. Another one.
I was going to say, you're just thinking about things that haven't even happened. You don't even know.
You don't even know if that happened.
Yeah.
Put those two together, that's exactly why. You don't even know if it happened or not. You're standing there, you're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? They're going through your head. And what is the thing? When you start thinking about it, when you start to despise what's happening on, we're humans. We can't keep it to ourselves. I'm going to turn to Shady and be like, oh, you see what you just did? It didn't even happen. You don't even know if it's true. He passes on to the next person until it goes all the way around, and this is the rumors start. SubhanAllah, Allah wants to stop at the very beginning. He says, he doesn't say, don't tell your friend. He says, don't become suspicious. Stop at the very beginning. Don't get suspicious of one another. Allah then goes on to say, SubhanAllah, see how this comes back to back to back to back. This is Surah Al-Hujurat, remember? Surah 49, ayah 10 to 13. Allah goes on to say, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا. Do not spy on one another. When someone's in private, it's their privacy. Don't spy on one another. What goes on in their privacy is between them and Allah. Don't spy. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. And do not backbite one another. When someone's not there, don't say stuff that he doesn't like about himself. وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. And Allah goes on to make a method that is so invoking. أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Would one of you like, this is what backbiting is, would one of you like to eat the dead flesh of your brother? I want you guys to close your eyes and imagine that for a second. Eating the dead flesh off your brother. And notice the word that Allah is using. He doesn't say the dead flesh of another person. شخص أخرى. No, he says أخي. He says لحم أخيه ميتا. He says the dead flesh of his brother. So Allah is saying إنما المؤمنون إخوة, that these persons already are brothers. But then we still find a way to backbite one another. And yet still, we're eating the dead flesh off of our brother's skin, off our sister's skin. Yani, just let that sink in for a second. SubhanAllah, these ayat, go read them and look at tafsir and look at stuff. I promise you, you'll be a better person. Allah will put that in you. You'll become a better person just by reading these ayat. Anyways, if you read, just so you guys let you know, just a little nasiha. For every single letter that you read in the Quran, how many hasanah? 10. Every letter. Just saying Bismi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismi, Basin, Mim. That's 30 hasanat right there. And Allah says that every sayyi'ah you do, every bad deed you do is what? 1. And just by saying Bismi, not even the whole thing. Bismi, you're already getting 30. Look at the difference. Allah, SubhanAllah. Allah written on Allah's arsh, on top of Allah's arsh, on top of His throne, is written, Inna rahmati sabaqat ghadabi. That indeed my mercy far surpasses my anger. SubhanAllah, Allah makes every good deed you do multiply by 10. But every sayyi'ah that you do, every bad deed that you do, He leaves it at 1. SubhanAllah. Moving on. So, the first one, smiling. Second one, don't get angry. Third one is to read Surah Al-Hujurat as 10 to 13. Just get all the lessons. And I can't even fit all the lessons. That's why I'm telling you guys to go home and read it. Because there are so many lessons jam-packed into less than half a page. Now, another thing. The fourth is dua. If you guys just understood how powerful dua is. Dua is the key. You understand that is the key. When you make dua for your brother, unconsciously you become closer to him or her. You become closer because the fact is that you're thinking of them in a good manner and you're wishing the best for them. And that connects back to the hadith that they said. That you will not believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. So that when you're asking Allah to forgive your brother by name, you're asking by name, forgive this brother. Ya Allah, may Allah forgive Shady. May Allah forgive Zaid Dabus. May Allah forgive all of us. That key, you're hoping for the good of other people, that helps them and that helps you. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, من دعا لأخيه بظهر الغيب قال الملك الموكل به آمين ولك بمثله. That whoever makes dua for his brother, without his brother knowing, in privacy, when it's just him and Allah, the malaika, the one malik, will say, Ameen. You see the malaika are saying Ameen when you say dua for your brother or sister. The malaika are saying Ameen. And what do they add after that? وَلَكَ بِمِثْلِ. And to you, the exact same thing. So when I say, may Allah forgive you, by my name, may Allah forgive Brother Hassan. What are the malaika? When I say it in private and it's just me and Allah, the malaika saying, may the same thing happen to you too. May Allah forgive you too. This dua is very crucial. So number 1, smiling. Number 2, don't get angry. Number 3, Surah Al-Hujurat, which ayahs? 10 through 13. And number 4, dua. Now, as I finish, I want to relate this back to one thing. Zaid Dabus already mentioned it, but I just want to culminate with this whole halaqa with this. Allah subhanahu. Yes, sir?
Question. I think maybe we could clarify what malaika is from.
Yeah, malaika are angels. So when I make dua for my brother or sister, the angels are the ones that say Ameen, that say, may Allah accept. Amen. They say it. And they say, and to you the exact same thing. So subhanAllah. That's just one lesson that we can take home. Now, this last point I'm trying to make is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Zaid Dabus already said it, but I'm just going to say it one more time. That Allah will not change the condition of a qawm, of a ummah, of a group of people until they change what is in themselves. So when I'm telling you all these points, when Shady is telling you all these examples, when Zaid Dabus is telling you what unity is, you should not be thinking, man, that girl or that boy, he needs to show more unity. He needs to do this. She needs to do this. She needs to, like, he never smiles. He needs to start smiling. No, look at yourself. This is about you. If you change yourself, if every single person in here was to change themselves, what a big change that would make. There's an effect that when atrocity is happening, people seem to think that the next person will step forward and do the right thing. It's called the bystander effect. That when an atrocity is happening in front of you, you're not going to do anything because you expect the next person to. And then that person expects the next person to, and it's a full circle till nobody does anything. And they did studies on this, that to the point where a woman was being raped in the daylight. And yet, no call to 911 was made because each person thought that the next person would call 911, and then that person thought that the next person would call 911. So it was a whole circle and nothing got done. This is the same thing. If you were to step up, the next person to step up, because they each believe that they are the change. You have to be the change that you want to see in your ummah. You have to start it. Don't expect other people to start it. You have to start it. When you step up, the next person steps up, they look at you, they step up, and it's a chain reaction. And I can promise you that if this happens in our ummah, so many problems will be fixed. And this is where I want to get to. That there are problems in our ummah that Allah gave us the answer to. This Quran has so many lessons in for it. If we were to follow this Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, these minute problems would be completely fixed, and these big problems would also. The genocide in Syria, in Syria, what's happening in Egypt, with the killing, the complete genocide of Muslims in Burma, of the starvation of people in Somalia, the split of people in Sudan. Yeah, it's happening so many, I can't even name all the countries that it's happening in. It's their fault. Let's let the U.S. government try to do it, and see if they can try to bring some aid, and see if we can do this, and see if this and that, and Muslims Without Borders, and see if they can go over there and do their thing, see if that can fix it. No, it's on you. You have to become part of Muslims Without Borders and go over there and help. You have to do something to help. You have to be the change that you want to see. So InshaAllah, we will step up, and we will become the change that we want to see. Number one is what? Smiling. Number two, don't be angry. Number three, number four, dua. And then number five, is be the change that you want to see. May Allah make this jama'ah here one that is forgiven for all of our sins. Say Ameen. May Allah shower His mercy on all of us, and may Allah make us the people who are in the forefront, that we're the ones that step forward and that everyone will follow us. And may Allah make us the leaders of this ummah, and may He make this ummah a one that has izzah. Ameen. JazakAllahu Khair. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ.
JazakAllahu Khair to the brothers for coming out and talking. SubhanAllah, this won't be their last halaqa they give, I can tell you that. And inshallah, they have many more to come in the future. And the reality is, what you see and what you just saw is a great example of the future of Muslims here in our community. Is that, these young brothers and sisters that you see amongst us right now, we're all sitting here. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put it in us, in our hearts, that we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we love the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that you have, these young brothers courageous enough to come and talk and speak about something so beautiful and so profound, and bring points home to our hearts, and touch the hearts of the people here tonight. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it on their scale of good deeds on the Day of Judgment, and then make it a means for them to enter into the paradise, and for the others sitting here, to take this, subhanAllah, that 20 years ago somebody, thought of building this masjid and building these institutions, and a lot of people doubted them. I remember when they first wanted to build Islamic schools, a lot of people said it'll never happen, it'll never succeed. And subhanAllah, today our schools have hundreds of people attending, they have waiting lists. Things that 20 years ago people doubted. People said that can never happen. And what we're doing today, we're planting seeds for generations to come in this country. And we want Islam here. Islam is here to stay. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a part of this road. And they spoke about unity, which is a very diverse topic. And subhanAllah, he talked about the issue of Eid and many other things. I wouldn't say they're trivial issues, but I would say that the greater cause, the greater good, is that the Muslims are united. And you would see Umar ibn Khattab and Abu Bakr different on many fiqh issues. Alright, they didn't necessarily agree, and they were two of the greatest companions to walk this earth. But their love was so strong, as Shady mentioned, they can never break them. No person can get in between them. And as we're sitting here, subhanAllah, we look at people for all walks of life, different countries, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us one body, one community here. And this is not going to stop, whether, Hakim talked about, moving on and not only, hearing this, so getting involved. And reality is, a sheikh or a speaker, can say many beautiful things, but when they say it, and when you say teenagers say things, it reaches a scope and a circle of people that no imam or no sheikh can reach. Why? Because you're at the campus. You're with the younger generation, dealing with them on a constant basis, and your effect on society is so great that if you were to become the role models of society, you will change all of society. More than any of these people who have the knowledge. So it's very, very important, as they were humble and mentioned that they're not scholars and so forth, and none of us, probably sitting here are, but the influence and change you can make is great. This is why we should never stop seeking knowledge, never stop improving ourselves, never stop what we're doing, because we have a greater goal. And yes, we know what's happening around the world. Yes, we understand what's happening around the world. That's why we have to play a role in making sure that we make a change, especially living in the US. Living here, we have so many things we can do to change. Whether it's by writing, whether it's by speaking, whether it's by doing helping with donating, many different ways we can all assist. And here I wanted to say, inshallah, we'll move on to Shahada, that Abu Darda, one of the great companions of Prophet, said to reconcile between brothers and sisters is more rewarding than charity and fasting. In a hadith of Prophet, when he speaks about sadaqah, he says that he compares sadaqah to as, when you use water to turn out fire, sadaqah is the same way to your bad deeds. By saying subhanallah, alhamdulillah, doing many good deeds of sadaqah, it removes your bad deeds like the water removes fire. And to reconcile and unite our hearts and purify our hearts. So if you're sitting on Halaqa tonight and you have a grudge against anyone, forgive for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do it right now. That you forgive and make dua for that person that upset you. It could be your son, your daughter, it could be your friend, it could be your parents, it could be a friend at your school. It doesn't matter who it is. Make dua, as Hakim mentioned, make dua for that person, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives him and forgives you. And this you will see, as Zaid talked about purifying our hearts, will be a closer step to actually purifying our hearts. So JazakAllahu Khair, brothers. Many times we focus on the issues and the problems in the world, but I would really like to focus on the positive that I saw tonight. And that we build upon this and we support these young brothers and sisters who are really, wanting to do great things for our community. And wanting to proceed and make sure that we progress as an ummah, that we have to have our backs. And I'll tell you and assure that we have your backs, inshaAllah, and whatever they need, we are there for them. This is why when we formed the organization, the Muslim Connection, it's not just to form another group to do, random things, but rather is that we bring our hearts together, our efforts together, our skills together, our talents together, for a greater cause, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to bring Islam back to the lives of people. So somebody who's 10 years old is proud to be called Muhammad. She's proud to be called Sumayya or Khadija, and proud to present her Muslim or his Muslim identity to all the world. Why? Because they're not ashamed. They're proud to be connected to Muslims. So with that being said, as we have a meeting after the Halaqa, anyone wanting to join, participate, as we have this month, March 19th, we have the March to the Capitol, which is going to take place in 2 weeks. And we have Malak Fakhuri here, and we have the brother here. What's your name, brother?
Terry Muhammad.
Terry Muhammad, they're working, brother Hakim also. They're working very hard for this trip in 2 weeks to the Capitol to speak to people in government and so forth. To talk about many different issues that are occurring and happening around the world. Also, March 28th, they have an Islamic Relief fundraiser that's going to be taking place at the NBC Suites for helping people around the world. And March 29th, here at Masjid Hassan, InshaAllah, we're going to have a dinner for no Muslims, alright? That we're going to have that night. So all the people who take Shahada, especially sisters, I invite you tonight to that dinner. Anybody who you know is a convert, who converted, it can be 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, it doesn't matter how long ago, invite them. And the goal is for that night is not really the dinner itself, is that we bring these people into the masjid and work with them, inshallah, and trying to do more da'wah activities. He spoke about da'wah, but subhanAllah was a brother who came and did them out, so we can inshallah start this initiative and continuously do da'wah, alhamdulillah. And this is something we don't want to just talk about, but inshallah we are working on continuously. With that being said, I'm going to ask the 2 sisters to come up so we can proceed with Shahada. Are they here, the sisters?